Hi everybody, this is Matty Simmons and this is where comedy happens. You know, every week I ask our guests to tell us their favorite jokes or one-liners. Tonight I'm going to do the same. Stephen Colbert is a very funny guy. He says that watching soccer is like watching grass grow, except that the soccer players get in the way. Ellen DeGeneres is again a very funny and charming lady. She says when her grandma was 61, she decided to walk 5 miles a day. She's now 90 and they don't know where the heck she is. George Carlin was one of the great comics of all time. He says he can't understand why they lock the toilets at gas stations. Are they afraid somebody will come in and clean up the place? We'll be right back with Dot Marie Jones from Glee. Welcome back, everybody. And now one of my very favorite people in the whole world, Dot Marie Jones, who is possibly best known for Glee, which was such a huge hit just a few years back. Mm-hmm. But I know her best because we made a movie together. It's called Pucked, and she was one of the comedy leads, and she was brilliant. Oh. And Dot Marie Jones, how are you?
I'm fantastic, Matty. I can't believe we shot Pucked over 12 years ago.
Oh my God.
Isn't that crazy?
It was a lot of fun. And John Bon Jovi was the star.
Yep.
And John, I spoke to John recently and he asked about you.
Oh, I love Johnny. It was a great cast.
It was a great cast.
Nora Dunn, David Faustino.
Yeah.
Amazing people. It was Estella Warren. I had so much fun.
Well, what kind of fun have you had lately?
Well,
I mean, in the movies.
No private stuff, Matty.
Okay.
Come on. I've been doing. I just did a feature in Atlanta, or actually Peachtree, Georgia. We shot it. It's called Greener Grass, and these directed, written, and starring two women that are incredible actresses and directors. It's a funny scenario. These people were growing, the adults in this town wear braces on their perfectly normal teeth. And
that's a perfectly normal thing.
Of course.
Yes.
But that was a lot of fun. And then I also got to do my first horror film this last year with Rob Zombie. Oh. The sequel to his Devil's Rejects, I was in, or will be in, 3 from Hell.
I haven't seen a zombie movie in a long time. But, you know, I know Glee was what you got so many awards for. Yeah. And interestingly, if I recall, the 2 Emmy nominations that you got.
3.
3?
Yes, 3,
But
Matty.
were they all for dramatic parts, I believe?
They were all for
comedy,
Glee.
which you normally do.
Yeah, they were all for my character, Coach Beast, on Glee.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a guest star. My first 4 seasons on Glee, I was only a guest. Well, not only, it was an amazing job, but I was a guest star. And then the last season, I was a series regular. But yeah, it was for my role on Glee.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember one role particularly where your husband beat you up, I believe,
yeah.
Which was not all that believable.
You know what? And it's funny because the domestic violence episode was, the response from women that I got was overwhelming, and a few men.
But did you beat him up?
I would have. You know me, Matty. I wouldn't have gone down.
Does everybody know that you were, what, 15 times U.S. arm wrestling champion?
World arm wrestling champion.
World arm wrestling champion.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
And what else? You were big in the field of strength and sports.
Yeah, I was a shot putter. That's what paid for my college, and went on to the Olympic trials in '88 and '92.
Right.
Didn't make the team, but I still had the time of my life.
I know Glee was only part comedy, mostly drama. But what kind of any funny things happen on Glee?
I think there was a lot of funny things that happened on Glee. One of the things is Coach Beast was always eating a rotisserie chicken, like the whole thing. And so that visual in itself was funny, but there was a couple episodes where they wanted me to keep eating while I'm saying my lines, and it got to be
all over the place.
All over the place, and I had to grab a garbage can and spit it all out because I ended up having so much chicken in my mouth I couldn't say anything. Because as I went to speak, it was spraying all over the place. But
I remember one scene from the change to back to Pucked. I remember one scene where you had to drop your robe, and we shot you, just your rear end was the only bare part of it, and I had them engraved the words "Mom" on your left buttock.
I had a big old tattoo and a heart and said "Mom."
Yes.
That was probably one of the funniest things I've ever done, Matty, because never in my life did I think somebody would want me to show my butt.
Yeah, matter of fact, I recall what you said to me when I brought it up. You said, "My mother isn't going to like this."
I told you too, you're going to have to pay me by the pound. That was hilarious. And I am going to admit I drank a few beers before that scene because I had to get my nerve up. I was terrified to do that. I was more terrified to do that than to sing on Glee.
What I loved was that I wrote it, so naturally I loved it. But I loved the work between you and David Faustino.
Yeah.
When you picked him up and hugged him, and he was like, David's about what, 5'3" or 5'5"?
Yeah, I'm 6'3". So that's one of my favorite pictures. I have a picture somebody took and sent to me, is when he comes to my door for our date night, and I just grab him and I pick him up, and then I don't know how you came up with this, but this was the funniest thing too, was he brought me, instead of bringing me flowers, he brought me like a potted plant.
Yes.
And I hung it around my neck on a rope.
I remember that. Yes.
It's just so funny. And then I had to eat ribs on that one too.
And you had to learn how to play hockey.
Yeah.
The movie was about hockey, a women's hockey team.
I learned to play, could skate kind of okay, but you had us training with the men's national champions, 40 and over. So those guys, I worked out with them when I wasn't shooting 4 hours a day. Yeah. And so even like when I was off time, I would go to the rink and skate with those guys.
Yeah. I remember seeing in that movie where when you showed up, the team had already been organized, but then we brought you in as sort of a ringer.
Yeah.
And John said, "Who wants to face off against this lady?" And nobody wanted to do it, but little Dana Barron, who was a good skater, but is about 5 feet tall, 5
exactly.
It was something. Said, "I'll do it," and the next scene is her being carried out on an ambulance with an ambulance waiting.
I know, that was hilarious.
On Glee, you sang. It was, of course, a singing show, but I didn't know you sang.
I didn't either, Matty. I've of course, done karaoke and all that stuff, but then I got the script, and a lot of times when we did Glee, we didn't know what we were doing until that script came. And I got the script, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing a solo, and it was Dolly Parton.
Oh,
and I was overwhelmed, and I was like, oh my God.
Good thing it wasn't Barbra Streisand.
I know, right? Exactly. But that was pretty exciting, because I'd never sang in public or on anything.
But I know that you sang the Star Spangled Banner.
Yes. I did the national anthem last year for the Dodger game. It was incredible. That's
an honor.
Yeah, it is an honor. It was really an honor.
I love that. I love the guests who sing the Star Spangled Banner. Years ago, I had my sister-in-law, former sister-in-law, was asked to sing the Star Spangled Banner at a baseball game and forgot the words.
It's
nerve-wracking. In the middle of the song. Hey, we got to cut for a very important word from our sponsor. See you right back here.
I'll be here.
We'll be back with Comedy Happens. Hi, everybody. We're back with Comedy Happens. I'm back with Maria Jones. You know, I know that you went through this because every actor, actress goes through this. While you're waiting for stardom, while you're waiting to get into shows like Glee and Modern Family and movies, you have to work. You have to support yourself.
Yes.
What are some of the funny or odd or interesting things you did to work your way?
Ooh, I've done a lot. Growing up on a farm, I did a lot of handiwork, you know, because I grew up building stuff. So I got to do that for a lot of people. And then also, too, I always would work on my friends because I was strong, had strong hands and stuff. So I thought, I'll go to massage school so that I can learn how to do it exactly right. So I did massage therapy on people. I had a few regulars that I'd work on, like Sandra Bernhardt, who's a good friend of mine. I'd work on Sandy. And then Adrienne Barbeau, I would go work on. And then Megan Mullally is probably one of the funniest, sweetest women I've ever met.
She's very funny.
And she had done some stunts on the show and on Will and Grace and had tweaked her neck or did something. And she's so cute. She would call me and say, "Dad, it's Megan. Megan Mullally." Like, you have to tell me your last name, like I wouldn't know who Megan was, you know? And she's so cute. And she goes, "I don't know what I did. Can you just come work on me?" So then one time I went to the set and to work on Megan. They asked me if I'd come over to CBS Radford and work on her. And then I ended up working on all four of them because I was there. And so that was a lot of fun. I had done a guest star on the show, but I was in the last...
The double duty.
I wasn't working that day. I was working on
massage.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, all my stuff that I'd done on the show got cut. I would go work on Megan periodically at her house, you know, just to do that. And just one of the sweetest people ever. So I did that, and then I did handiwork. And one of the people I did handiwork for is Adam Goldberg, who has the Goldberg Show now. And he's so funny. Like, he would have me come hang a picture because his wife wouldn't even let him hang a picture on the wall.
It sounds like me.
I'd come help you, Matty, anytime.
I need help constantly. I can't put a nail in the wall.
Yep, that's what it came down to.
God, you do everything.
I try.
Massage, dramatic acting, comedy. Let's talk about some of the shows you've been on. I know you were on Modern Family. I know Roseanne. You were on Roseanne often.
Yeah. Well, I did a guest star on Roseanne back in '97.
What happened?
It was actually a really fun show. I played a big time wrestler, and Laurie Metcalf gets picked out of the audience to come in the ring. So I had Laurie Metcalf on my shoulders.
Oh my God!
And then had to slam her onto the mat and then jump on her. But I jumped on her, of course, not touching her. And then two other girls that were wrestlers jumped on my back. So I'm holding everybody off of Laurie Metcalf. But John Goodwin, I have a funny story from working on Roseanne is I did the guest star, and then like 2 weeks later, Marcy Carsey called me herself from Carsey Warner. And
oh, I know Marcy
many
years.
I'm sure you do. And they said, "Hey, can you choreograph a fight?" And I said, "Well, I think of course I can." I said, "I've done, you know, they knew I did my stunts. I did my own stunts when I was on the show." And I said, "Well, how big is it and how involved?" And she said, "Oh, it's just a small, short little fight in the backyard between Debbie Reynolds and Roseanne." And I was like, "Oh my God," because Debbie Reynolds played John Goodman's mom. And
yes.
So I went, and for 4 or 5 days, Debbie Reynolds kicked my ass. I have never laughed so hard. And where we did this thing, and at first they had a real shovel, and she swung this shovel up and came this close to my face.
Oh.
And so then I had props get us a rubber shovel because, God, I didn't want her hitting Roseanne or anything. And
you.
Or me during rehearsals. And so I got to work with her, and John Goodman comes in. He goes, "Oh, you were the wrestler, you were the wrestler." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, flip me. And I'm like, "Oh my God, John, I didn't want to hurt him or do something
and John's
to
not
him."
exactly a small person.
No, he's a big boy, and he was like bigger than, or my size at least. And so I did this one thing where they had this lawn laid out where it was real grass laid out to be their backyard. And I did it, and I grabbed him and flipped him over my shoulder, and he was so hilarious. He was like such a sport. He was like, "Come on, flip me,"
like a kid. tell you that John is such a nice person. I must tell you one fast story about myself and John. I was at a party at John's house some years ago after he became a star, Roseanne, and he walked right up to me and said, "You know, you passed on me for Delta House, a television show I did."
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't think of anything to say, so I said, "What have you done lately?" From that moment on, we were friends.
You guys were buddies right then.
We were buddies.
Wow.
How about Modern Family? That was a really funny show.
I've known, like Ed O'Neill, I've known for years from doing Married with Children, and then, oh my gosh.
And you know David Faustino, you know so well.
Of course, yeah, David. But Modern Family was really fun.
So you did Modern Family, Two Broke Girls. Mm-hmm. Tell me about some of the people you worked with.
Oh, everybody on Modern Family is incredible. I worked with Mitch and Cam on Modern Family, and then they're so funny. And then on Two Broke Girls, I worked with the two girls, the stars of the show, and then, of course, Jennifer Coolidge, who's probably my favorite, if not one of my favorite comedic actresses.
Oh, that's the question I'm going to ask you.
Oh, yeah, Jennifer Coolidge makes me laugh so hard. And that was probably one of the hardest shows where she walks into the scene. It took all I could not to start laughing because she's so funny.
There are people like that. I remember when I was younger, I used to go to nightclubs and see Phil Silvers and Jimmy Durante, and when they walked on stage, before they said anything, I started to laugh.
There's a lot of people like that. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stand-up comics.
Well, like who?
Oh my God.
Well, who'd you work with that you thought, aside from Jennifer Coolidge?
George Lopez. I did a couple of George Lopez shows. Jennifer Coolidge, David Faustino, who David I think should still be doing stand-up. Jim Belushi. I worked with Jim on According to Jim.
Jim's a very talented guy. You know my relationship with John.
Of course.
John was like my protege. But I always thought Jim was a real talent. Yeah. I thought he was really good.
He was very giving. I'd never worked with him before and stuff or anything. And when I did According to Jim, he was very, like, it's nice to work with a giving actor, you know, because they give you so much to work off of and feed you for your stuff. And that's huge.
He learned from the best, his brother. Okay, before we wrap it up, I want to ask you a question I ask everybody every week. What was your favorite comedy movie of all time?
Oh, God. And it's not just because it's you, but...
No.
No. Christmas Vacation. Huh? We watch it, my family, we watch it every Thanksgiving.
We do too.
we watch it every Thanksgiving. I mean, some of the one-liners in that between Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo, and oh my God, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm very proud of those movies. I think they, among other things, they were the most perfectly cast movies.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, that and Animal House.
Animal House is another favorite.
The casting was really incredible.
And you know what? It's funny because it's like sometimes I watch movies and I'm like, okay, they couldn't have had anybody else in those movies, in those roles.
That's when you know it's good. What other movie? Put me aside.
You aside. One of the funny movies. God, there's so many funny movies. I love Melissa McCarthy and Bridesmaids. I've watched it 100 times. It makes me laugh every single time. Yeah. There's so many good actors and comedic actors have come from SNL, and you know they fuel.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy's incredible, and the girls that are in Bridesmaids. There's quite a few from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, well, the one of the leads wrote it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Lady from SNL. I'm sorry. Forgive me, I'm drawing a blank on her name. Right now, we have to pay the rent.
That's right.
Let's go to a commercial break.
That's right.
Are you sure you don't want to go back into the masseuse business and quit show business?
Well, for you, Matty, anything.
God, it's been so great seeing you today and being reminiscing and hearing about all the shows you've done and the wonderful work you've done. You are, as I said at the very opening of the show, one of my very favorite people and one of my very favorite performers.
I love you.
Great
I'd do anything for you, Matty.
Thank you, sweetheart. Bye, everybody.
Bye.